1.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Friday at 4:20. I just shocked my dog, and now the dog's gone off. Yeah, Shay, Ronnie, hush, doing a show. All right, sorry about that. It's Mike Neighbors along for the ride here for another edition of Friday at 4:20, getting you set for the weekend, and we've got some cool stuff. We got an excellent guest with some cool information about a cool documentary that you might want to watch, and that's enough of the use of the word cool. Let's introduce our panel, shall we? Let's get right to it. A guy who is decidedly uncool. Please say hello to Patrick Campolino.
Buongiorno. How are
you, Patrick?
I'm not bad. Doing good.
You won poker Monday night again.
Again, yeah. Back-to-back Mondays. Jamie Stevens is pissed.
How much did you win?
They have. They're not going to let you back, man.
I won 340 last week and 380 this week.
Holy.
Something like that.
There are you some kind of what? So were you lucky?
No, the training's paying off. I told you, I know what I'm doing.
He knows. I assume I give him money when he didn't believe in himself. Now he's doing good. He won't use my money.
And
I will. I'm waiting for the right one.
Money. No,
I'm waiting for the right one for that.
This weekend.
All right. Well.
Oh no.
What happened? Why is he frozen?
I don't know. He looks like he's about to sneeze.
Yeah. Achoo.
I'm gonna
Wait. Is he back?
Oh, there he is.
You froze, dude. All right.
Am I back?
Oh, kind of.
Oh man.
Okay. Wait. You're back. Wait.
I know. So did you guys.
Oh, we froze for you?
My internet connection is unstable.
Is that what it says? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, he's freezing.
Oh yeah.
Again.
No, it's me. It's me doing.
Are you using Wi-Fi?
I see the orange button. I'm using Wi-Fi. Yeah. I'm okay right now?
Yeah, it's going. It's good.
Okay. Let's go. Keep going. We're good.
Let's keep going. Say hello to Manolo Santanos. We got to go fast.
Let's go. Hey, dude. How you doing, dude?
I was doing great.
I'm very excited because I love this guy that we have on today.
Okay, well, that's good. Well, let's get right to introducing our special guest on this Friday at 4:20. Please say hello all the way from Pennsylvania, Mr. Joel Richardson. How are you, Joel?
Good. Thanks so much for having me on.
Oh, well, thanks for doing the show, man. And so you are just outside of Philadelphia, as I understand it?
Yep. 2 hours from New York and 40 minutes just west of Philadelphia.
Have you always, is that where you were born and raised, that area?
So I was born in Pittsburgh. I've been doing shows outside. I went to college in New York, stayed there for 15 years, and I've been doing shows in this area for just over 12 years. I've been doing shows at the Valley Forge Casino where we had Manolis 2 years ago, and we decided to finally open up right before the pandemic, November 2019, 1 day a week after being in this business for 14 years. Finally, my own brick and mortar, my own place. We went from 1 day a week to being open 5 days a week at the end of February. 2 weeks later, shut down due to the pandemic. Boom. It's actually a year this weekend.
You know what? That sucks.
Yeah.
It's
insane.
The place is called SoulJoel's, and you know what? It's unfortunate that on this pandemic, timing's everything, and especially in show business. And yours couldn't have been worse.
Yeah, well, I finally had a staff and trying to keep, everybody afloat and responsible for more people than just myself. July 3rd, thanks to our landlord, there was a big open land where there used to be a factory, right next to where our club is. And he decided to let us use this space. And we called it an amphitheater, but it was nothing more than a dirt field. Then a month later, we decided to put sand on it. We had this fake beach in the middle of Pennsylvania, which is a landlocked state, for everybody that knows. And then every week we just added more and more stuff. Then come in August, we decided to do 17 shows, 17 days in a row, making up for every week that we lost during the quarantine. And day number 14, Big J Okerson ends up getting pulled off the stage by a fan. The next day, we announced Jim Brewer. And then Sunday, we had Dave Attell for 2 days. So it was like lightning struck 3 times in 3 days. It was
wow.
Yeah, it was crazy. And even Mike Vecchione kicked it off Friday, July 3rd. And, he made fun of me. He had just done the movie with Pete Davidson and Judd Apatow, and we had them on a 4x4 foot stage in the middle of this dirt field. And he goes, "You called this an amphitheater? It's nothing but a dirt field." And it started lightning, and he's got a microphone in his hand. He goes, "Does anybody else notice that there's 3 random canopy tents, 10 by 10, none of which are over my head?" And it made for, just funny banter. No matter what, the comics, I mean, Patrick, the comics are always going to roast you. And even if you have like Caesar's Palace, they're going to find something to make fun of your venue. Something.
Yeah.
A lot of what you're talking about is, of course, in the documentary that makes its debut this Sunday night, right? So, and something people will be able to stream if you go to SoulJoels.com. This documentary is really about this transformation from a club that got shut down right as it was opening to what you guys did during the pandemic. Yeah,
we went from exactly. It's this Sunday night at 7:00. We're gonna be at the club, but then people can stream it anywhere from home. The tickets are only $10 to stream it, and it's all going to a good cause to support, to keep us afloat. But we went from inside to outside, and then in the fall we did a heated tent, and now we have a heated dome. It's 100 by 65 foot structure that goes 40 feet in the air, and it's open in the front and the back behind the stage, and then it's closed on the other 2 sides. We had to get 30 patio heaters, propane. I mean, the cost of doing business to stay afloat has been crazy. But this next weekend we got Russell Peters coming, DL Hughley. We just had Andrew Dice Clay. We booked him again to come in the summer. So we've been getting some of the best names in comedy because New York shut down, Philadelphia was shut down, and we're giving these comics a place to work.
Any other bigger names that you've had?
Yeah. I mean, we had your buddy Ari Shaffir.
Yes.
Louis C.K. did 2 drop-ins on a Wednesday night with Joe List. We've had a lot of big names, man. Jim Brewer. It's been really cool.
A little bit a blessing in disguise in a way, right? This whole situation.
Yeah, well, a lot of comedians in the documentary joke around the fact that I've been pandemic training for 15 years. Doing comedy shows in all kind of, from country clubs to the back of bars, restaurants, and now I just knew that always put the comics in a good place, having great sound and a good audience. We've now trained these audiences, no matter if they're coming out for Jessica Curson or Joe List or Mark Norman, they're coming out, they see SoulJoels, they know it's going to be a good show.
I'm proud that I can say that I believed in you before anybody, Joel.
Yeah, so I didn't know if Manolis wanted to bring this up, but he was the first one to invest in this comedy club. Him and I vibed, over the weekend, and he was talking about Patrick helping you at your place, and he really knew just from my hustle that I was going to make something of it. And he was the first one to invest $1 in my company, and he put money, serious money into me, and it's worked out. And we just did it on a handshake, no contract or anything. He just got on a plane right back to Toronto, and he goes, "All right, I guess we're doing this."
That's Manolis.
Yeah,
that's Manolis, exactly.
I love being right.
Well, speaking of being right, I can't believe I followed his social media that he got engaged and got a girl pregnant. I'm like, this is awesome. He's like, yeah, that wasn't real. No, that wasn't. I'm like, but why? Why, knowing Manolis, why wouldn't you think that's true? I mean, why wouldn't you think that's true?
Yeah,
it could happen.
It could happen.
I'm interested in the fact that Manolis has put money into your venture and Patrick's venture. I'm the only one not getting any money from Manolis. What the hell's going on?
Hey,
your microphone.
Your whole setup is for me.
That's okay. Good point. All right, let's get to our game, shall we? And we'll have more on the documentary. SoulJoels.com is what you want to remember to go to. It is being released this Sunday night, so you can stream it. Joel, as our special guest, you get the very first topic. We have 12 topics and 12 random envelopes that I stole from my previous job. And your first topic on this Friday at 4:20, Joel Richardson, what is your worst habit? What do you not what other people think, but what do you think is your worst habit?
Eating, man.
Oh.
I have a terrible, it's not so much drinking. It's whenever I drink and then I go eat after a show, man. I have a huge sweet tooth. Like I get a sandwich, but there's no reason why it needs to be a foot long. It could have been 6 inches. Then I get a ice cream. Okay, get ice cream, but do I need the whole pint? And then tossing 2 donuts into the bag was completely unnecessary. So yeah, it just eating after a show, eating late. It's crazy.
Have you ever upsized a bowl? And what I mean by this is if I go to my freezer to get ice cream and I'll put ice cream in a bowl and then I'll think, you know what? That bowl's not big enough. And then I've got to dump it into a larger bowl so I can fit more ice cream in. Have you ever done that, Joel?
I've done that, but I've also just filled it above the level. Like you could have just filled it, but I didn't need to be obnoxiously like over the edge. Like it didn't need to be over the edge.
Just dripping. Just dripping.
Or just eat it directly out of the container.
Yeah, or just take the container.
Yeah.
Manolis, what's your worst habit? Not what other people think is your worst habit. What do you believe is your worst habit? Betting money on strangers?
Obviously, like, might as well not go to the internet for this one, because everybody, I think that's everybody's worst habit, right? But I think my worst habit is when I complain about something, and Pat, you probably agree to this. I'll say, "Is that my life? This is who I am. This is what I gotta do now. I have to do this every day." I always say, "Is that my life?" I complain like, "Am I this guy that has to do this thing for the rest of my life? This is the thing that I choose to do," and that's how I somehow get back at the universe for annoying me.
So that's it. So
that's
taking the littlest thing and then expanding it
but
to
always,
this is my life.
But I always say, Patrick, do I not say like, "Is that my life?"
Yeah, and it's usually things that you've chosen to do.
Right.
Like no one's making you do these things, and then you go, "Is this my life?" Yeah, it is. That's what you chose.
Patrick Campolino, what is your worst habit?
Well, the book I'm reading says you're not supposed to call it a habit, but smoking. I gotta get over smoking.
Because weren't you reading that book that's supposed to help you quit in a week?
Yeah, no. Well, however long it takes you to read the book, the problem it was working. I stopped reading the book. I was like really into it, and then I just completely lost interest. And it's more just because it's just reading. It's just I'm just too lazy to read it.
Now you're talking about tobacco.
Yes.
What's that? Yeah. But like we have friends like Jason Allen. So I wanted to read the book because I heard a few people that did it. But Jason Allen's wife read it. She quit. And then Jason Allen, he was like, he smoked more than me, like a lot more than me.
No one smokes more than Jason Allen.
Yeah. And he finished the book and quit. So now I'm like,
he quit.
Okay, if he quit, I can do this. I have to finish the book. So that's
but who would have known?
Oh no.
Shit. Hang on, guys. He'll be back. I tell you this though, Patrick, if you do quit cigarettes, I'm going to quit cigarettes just to annoy you, to show you how easy it is.
Yeah.
I
don't
I
smoke
swear
like I do though.
I know that's why it doesn't really count, I guess. Yeah, I haven't had a smoke in 3 days.
Yeah, see, I couldn't do that right now.
Yeah. Right. I'm like, so hey.
Oh no.
Oh,
There he is.
There. He's back.
It reboots. I
You're
didn't know
back.
it would reboot automatically like that.
You're on a different side of the screen now.
Oh, am I? All right. How long was I gone? Did I miss much?
4
it's been
years.
like yeah.
30 seconds.
Yeah.
Oh man, I hate technology. Damn it. So where I was when I checked out was that you're still smoking because you can't finish reading the book.
Yeah.
Okay, we just got that cleared up. That's awesome. This is Friday at 420. Our special guest is Joel Richardson, and this topic is topic number 6. This one goes to Manolis. Manolis, your topic on Friday at 420. Is there anything that triggers you? I hear a lot about things triggering people. Is there something in particular that just really irritates you? That something somebody can say to you that just you go, oh my God, don't say that to me. Just don't even talk to me about that.
Well, I think being from Hamilton, it's like definitely if you say the word goof is I don't know, Joel, if you know this, but Hamilton, the goof is like the worst thing you could say to a person.
Not goof.
I didn't even know that, and I'm from Hamilton.
You didn't know
Yeah.
that?
That's hard.
You didn't
That's
know that?
heartless.
Yeah, it's like if someone says goof to you, it's like you're like what'd you just say to me? What'd you say to me? Like
Yeah.
goof is like, I swear to God, especially like in the 90s, like if you heard the word goof in the air, you automatically backed up because you knew two people were about to fight.
Yeah.
I swear to God, goof was the worst thing you could hear. And if you hear someone said goof to you, you just had to like step up. Like, I don't know why. It's such a real Hamilton word.
Yeah.
Where don't say goof to someone. Unless you're really up for the fight. I always say the thing about Hamilton is no one's looking for a fight, but everybody is up for one. That's Hamilton. You know what I mean? So especially if you say the word goof. And the other thing, go ahead, Mike.
Well, I know. I was just going to say, just so we're clear. So 3 decades ago, your trigger word was goof.
It's still goof. I like goof is a dangerous word to me. If I hear the word goof, I might want to fight you, but I also let's just like look around what's going on because I know there's some danger in the air if someone's using the maybe two people are talking goof to each other. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The other thing that really triggers me more than anything, dude, and it's my own fault, because like Patrick says, this is my life. I follow way too many hot girls on Instagram, and as I go by and I focus on these beautiful juicy jugs and I'm looking at them and my brain goes crazy. I'm like, oh my God, she's so hot. And it gives me purpose. I'm like, the only reason I don't kill myself is because I maybe the hope that I could be with such a beautiful woman one day. But what I do is I run to the internet and just drain my balls just to calm down. And then I go back on Instagram and the cycle happens again.
What was
endless.
the question?
Yeah, I know. It was a phrase that bothers you.
No. I'm just
Oh,
kidding.
no.
He went off on such a tangent.
Yeah.
They were like,
The phrase that bothers me is when I look at girls' tits on the internet and
No, what was the question? Well, that
it
was
was
the
like
phrase.
what could someone say that bothers you?
No,
What triggers you?
what triggers me?
Oh, wasn't it something someone says?
No, he said.
I put it into the context
Oh.
of somebody
Thank
saying
you.
something to you.
Thank you.
Which is where goof
Nah.
came from.
This is what Greeks do when your friend's an idiot. You go, nah. Okay,
But I
Patrick?
was just
Nah.
looking for something that sets you off. I hear a
And
lot
boobs.
about people being triggered, and
Boobies set me off, man. Boobies. They make me go nuts, and I go to the internet and I'm like, ah, and I calm down.
thank God this isn't being broadcast on International Women's Day. We passed that. It's all right. We can talk about boobies now and how they trigger Manolis. Patrick Campolino, what triggers you? What is it? Is it the word goof? Is it?
No. It's when like when people make choices and they're like doing things in their life and then they complain about it. Like, is this my life? Is this?
I'm your biggest complaint.
Honestly, yeah. These days, what bothers me the most is just when my phone rings. I absolutely cannot stand talking on the phone. I hate it.
I'm your biggest complaint because I'm the only one that calls you.
Yeah,
That's true, isn't it?
that's true.
He picked the one friend that's like illiterate. I can't spell to save my life, so I need to talk sometimes because I can't. It takes me forever to
we sent like 4 texts back and forth the other day, and he's like, "You need to call me, Patrick. I can't keep doing this." It was like hurting his brain. Like, please call me. I can't.
Just call me. I can't. We're trying to figure something out for the show. I'm like, I can't do it this way.
I think our little show needs a disclaimer to run beforehand for the kids at home. Just don't be like Manolis, all right? Boobs trigger me.
Dude,
and I'm
great
just
advice. Great
and
advice.
I'm illiterate and boobs trigger me.
Yeah.
Just don't be like Manolis.
Don't be me. Don't be me. It's all my own fault. I did it to myself.
Joel Richardson, who's obviously now thinking to himself, why the hell did I sign up for this mess? Joel, what is it that sets you off? What is it that annoys you? And I would be particularly interested, once you've answered on a personal level, what is it working in the comedy business that gets under your skin?
Yeah, so I think for me, I'm a big family man. Like, I'm not married, I don't have any kids, but I love when my family's in harmony, everyone's getting along. So I would say like my trigger is like if like my mom or my sister, one of them are upset, like I feel like my life's out of harmony, and I like that kind of like just whether it's work or whatever else, kind of gets me irritated even more if my personal life isn't in line.
Right.
That makes sense.
That makes perfect sense. Yeah, absolutely. And especially if you depending on where you fit into the family dynamic, but quite often I'm kind of in the same boat. Like everybody's got to be happy. And if somebody's unhappy, I got to figure out why you're unhappy.
Right.
What can I do to fix that? Because I just need some positivity. The negativity makes me crazy. So,
Right.
What about working in the comedy business? You've seen some of the greats, you've worked with them now. They've come through your club. You've worked with different entities and stuff like that. What is it about putting on comedy shows, building a comedy club that is the difficult part of that?
I think communication. Just communicating with the comics, making sure they're promoting the shows in good faith. Sometimes, obviously comedians tend to be the biggest class clowns. So, if they don't show up, they're not going to get paid, but it doesn't mean they're not going to run late or hit traffic. God forbid they got in a car accident or whatever else. And sometimes I'm like, this is Joel, just hanging out. But the comedy producer in me is always like, what's your ETA? I just want a little text. Just like, let me know. I'm going to be there 15 minutes earlier. I'm going to be there 15 minutes late. Just communication. And that sometimes is the smallest thing. You would think it'd be easy, but for whatever reason, it becomes the most difficult task sometimes.
Patrick, have you found that in working with levity and is it the handling of the comics sometimes, and some of them obviously more troublesome than others?
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't understand like how much work goes into the behind the scenes stuff, like everything leading up to the show.
Right.
But for me with the club, the hardest part for me is like I don't like confrontation and I don't like saying no to people. And as soon as you're in a position to give people stage time, then like everyone becomes a leech of some sort at some point. You know what I mean? Like you have to say no a lot to a lot of things. And that's probably like, yeah, just dealing with all the behind the scenes stuff is a little.
And I'm always the one telling him like, you can't say that, you can't do this, but I'm not the one that has to do it. He's the bearer of bad news. So,
Yeah, because I think a lot of times audiences show up to a sold out crowd, whether it's 100 people or 300 people, whatever that number is, and they just see you having fun or hosting a big event. They didn't see the 100 hours behind the scenes of promoting and marketing and making phone calls, dealing with all the agents and managers and negotiating. They didn't see all that. They just see the fun part of the business. And they think you show up an hour before the show, turn the lights on, and abracadabra, hear the comics, and here's the audience.
Yeah.
Hey, and then they complain because the sound isn't quite what they wanted.
Right.
Yeah.
Remember that show we did with Shuli? We're like, we were like on the way. You're like, we almost got there, and you're like, you touched base with him, and you were gonna do it before we left, and he's like, oh, what? There's a gig?
Yeah. So that was another thing on my end that managing comics is I should have checked in the paranoia, and I'm like, oh, sometimes I just like, no, it'll be okay. And he ended up getting in his car and was 2 hours late, and Manolis and I had to
fill
eat
the time. Oh yeah. I'm doing jokes from like the 90s. like just
don't call me goof.
Don't go. But like Shuli just like walked in, got on stage, and did an hour and a half, and everybody waited. It was It was such a beautiful night.
Yeah, and it ended up being great. But when you're stuck in that, you're like, oh, this is the worst. But
right.
It ends up all working out.
Funny thing in my radio career, I had a terrible. The first musicians and music form that I worked with was country, and country music artists are the greatest people in the world to work with. They don't show up on time. They show up early. They are so thankful that you've given your time. And then from there, I went to a rock station. I had to deal with rock artists, and I was like, these guys are all assholes compared to country music artists. These guys are the worst. And then I had to deal with comics at our comedy radio station. And I went, wow, I thought rock music guys were jerks. Like so many, and you know what? I'm sure there are some great comics who are absolutely wonderful to work with, but some of them are real. And the worst part, when you're not being on stage, they're not funny. They're not funny people to hang around with.
I think
that makes me crazy that a comedian is not a funny person to hang around with.
Sometimes, but I remember you saying like you enjoyed doing those. That's how we kind of started working together, Mike. And you were like, you do these little promos for me, but you're like, I love working with you. Like you get it. Where like a lot of guys, as soon as you talk to them on the radio, they think they turn it into like behind the music, and they're like they want to talk, they want to get all serious.
Oh, absolutely. And they want, and it's, well, this is my writing process is it's like, no, make me laugh, funny boy.
Yeah.
Come on. That's what you do. Anyway,
You don't have to turn it on all the time.
Yeah, but when you're doing a radio interview with somebody, how can you be a comedian doing a radio interview for a comedy radio station and not try to be funny?
Yeah,
that's what we're doing.
That's a great point.
Anyway, that's just me beefing. Sorry about that. Here we go.
Is this my life?
What's your trigger, Mike?
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you. Yes, it's that I don't get to work with country artists anymore. God, they were such a joy. This Friday at 4:20, our special guest is Joel Richardson of SJP Comedy, SoulJoels.com. And we'd like you to visit his website. We'd love you to visit Pennsylvania as soon as the border opens and go visit his club, because it's going to be an amazing place for years to come. But more importantly, if you wouldn't mind checking out the documentary about how SoulJoels got through the pandemic, it's going to be a lot of fun. Some great comedians are featured in the documentary, so please check that out. This topic, I'm back to Joel. Joel, this topic's for you. Where would you prefer to sit on a plane? You got to take a plane. Where is your preferred seating spot on a plane?
I'm taking the window. I go to the bathroom before the plane takes off. I'm good to go. I'd rather not be bothered. Just sit down and just pass out.
That's it. Eh? Did you see the clip of the engine on fire that the people were like, they're videotaping from the window? this engine just blew the hell up, man, and it was on fire. Now they landed, everybody got down safely, but I thought to myself, I don't know if I want a window seat anymore.
Oh yeah, you don't want to see that.
I don't want to see that. It'd be scary.
It's funny that people don't have time to be scared anymore. Like, oh, I'm putting this on Instagram.
I gotta get the phone up. My last will and testament is this engine on fire. Manoli, where's your place to sit on a plane? Where do you go?
Honestly, I like to sit. I like to sit in the aisle, because it's like I don't like my elbow. If I'm in the middle, I don't like my elbows. And if I'm at the window, I'm worried if I have to go to the washroom. Right, so it's like bothering those other two people. Even though I hate, like, I've tried to take a poo in the air, and it's really hard, man. Really hard. But sometimes you feel like you got to take a poo, and then you sit down. It's like, nah, dude, we're like 5,000 feet in the air. This is not going to happen.
Yeah, but your pants are down, so you pull one off.
I pull one off. My favorite one time this really happened to me. So I don't know what seat I was in. I get out of my seat. I take my earbuds out. I'm watching a movie. I come back. I sit down. I'm watching like 5 minutes or maybe 2 minutes of this movie. I sit back down and I'm so stupid because I'm like, what is this? I don't remember. This is not the same movie. What is? I'm trying to process, and then I hear a tap, and some girl's like, you're in my seat. So my seat was like four more seats up. So I get in this woman's seat that went to the washroom. As I came past her, put her earbuds in, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. And she goes, and you had my earbuds in your ears. She goes, that's so disgusting. She said that to me, which I thought was hilarious. That made my day.
That really is, though.
It is. But I'm like, all right, lady. Like, you're not going to get some disease for my ears.
Wait a second. I wasn't watching a Meryl Streep movie. What is this?
I know. Any other person would have took them 2 seconds to figure it out. I'm like, I just sat there and didn't even realize a complete stranger to my left.
I didn't know Meryl Streep was in Hot Tub Time Machine. What?
That was a good movie.
That was a great movie, actually.
Yeah.
Patrick Campolino, where are you sitting on the plane, buddy? You got a preference?
Well, I fly first class, so I get my own. No. I was lucky enough to fly first class once in my life, and now no seat is good enough for me.
Well, never. But, was it that much better?
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
I was like in a bed. It was amazing.
I've never flown.
They're like these pods that
class.
are like you could recline them into a bed, and like you get your own screen, and they bring you food. It was amazing,
cool.
but you actually get to sleep. But I agree with Joel, when I'm not flying first class.
Of course.
That was the best answer. He just mic dropped it like that. That was
Walk
the
away.
best answer. No seat. no seat is good enough once you fly. Just end it. That's the
Yeah,
best.
I'd rather just hang out in the bathroom for the rest of the flight.
Trying to
if I
poo.
can't. Yeah. But I'm like Joel though. I prefer the window because I've trained myself now. I can get on a plane, sit down by the window, like rest my head and fall asleep like for the whole flight. But yeah, I don't know why you like the aisle seat. I thought I would like the aisle seat, and I tried it a few times. It's like it's so hard to sleep.
Have you guys done first class? You two?
I think one time, like Patrick said, I got upgraded for whatever reason, and but it was like a short flight. So I didn't get to experience the whole bed.
Okay,
That sounds amazing.
I was going to New Zealand, so it was a long flight.
Oh, are you kidding?
With,
Oh,
with Tom Green.
Yeah.
You should have Tom Green at your club.
Yeah.
yeah, that'd be great.
He would play your club.
And Manolis, you've never flown first class.
Once.
Oh, well, everybody once.
Yeah, it was the best. It was one of the best
We're
days.
the kind of people that just luck into first class once,
Right.
Mike.
Right.
This is not
Yeah.
our life.
Yeah.
This is our life.
I've
Yeah.
never been in first class. I've
What?
Never,
You?
No. The closest I came was watching the movie The Wedding Singer and seeing, Billy Idol in first class. That was it.
Moving right along.
Yes, another topic on this Friday at 4:20 with Joel Richardson, our special guest. We don't have time for many more, but I want to get all three of you have been to New York. And Joel, I really brought this topic up because I know you're not that far away from New York. I'm sure you've spent a lot of time.
I lived there for 15 years. That's where I started comedy and how I met Manolis.
Perfect.
And Giannis, right?
Giannis, he was
I
headlining
met-
Saturday.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And Manoli and Patrick, I know you guys have visited New York on various occasions. So I want everybody to sort of weigh in on New York. What good, bad, indifferent, whatever you think. I want your sort of opinion of New York. If I'm somebody and I've been there once, but it was like 30 years ago. So somebody who's not been to New York, is it someplace I need to go? If it is, why? And we'll start with you, Manolis. Why New York? Why is New York awesome, or why is it a hunk of crap I should avoid?
Oh, it's amazing because like everything feels like you constantly feel like you're in a movie, you know?
Yeah.
It's like I remember this one time I went to the washroom somewhere in New York and there was like,
it's always the washroom with you.
no, but
Jesus.
this is what blew my, cause to me, like, where it's like only in New York. I can't think of anywhere else this would happen. The stall door was like broken. There was no door. And there was this dude that had to take a dump, I guess, and he was using the washroom without a door, just taking a dump. You walk in, you're like, hey, dude. Like, to me, that's New York. Like, we don't got time to care about the little details. We're here to live life. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and there's something about New York comics and their grittiness, and there's such a realness to New York where it's like we're not doing it to be famous. We're doing it because we have to do it. There's something real. There's something very real about New York.
Patrick Campolino, your take on New York City.
I like New York. It's actually the first place I went on a trip by myself when I was like 15 or 16. I had a friend who went there to go to the New York Film School, so I went to go visit him for like a week, which is funny. Like now, like knowing what I know about New York and stuff, like I thought my parents loved me until they let me go to New York City by myself. It was my first time on a trip by myself. I'm 15 years old, but it was awesome. I loved it, and then I've gone back since for like comedy related things. And yeah, I like pre-pandemic. I really like cities like that. Like Manolis is saying, it's just there's always something going on. It's like one of those hustle and bustle cities.
Yeah.
But I don't know. But now the last year has slowly conditioned me. Like I could totally buy have a house in the middle of the country, no buildings or people around.
Just some rural area.
Yeah.
You live in the Patrick Campolino life. Joel, as a person who has lived there, do you miss it? First of all.
Yeah, I do miss it, certain aspects of it. I don't miss living there now. Like I like to just go there, but I always stayed there because they always said you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere, based on the hustle that both Manolis and Patrick mentioned. But when I was a sophomore in college, this is back in '99, I was in the Village and had never been to a comedy club. I was on a double date with one of my friends who was from New York. I grew up in South Jersey. And we ended up going to the Comedy Cellar, not realizing the stature of it. We ended up seeing on one show Louis C.K., Greg Giraldo, Dave Attell, Lisa Lampanelli, Wanda Sykes, and Keith Robinson was hosting. And halfway in between the show, he goes, "You guys have been a great crowd. Please welcome, a good friend of ours, Chris Rock." And Chris Rock, and this is the height of Chris Rock back in '99, and he just dropped in, and I was maybe 10 feet from him, and that to me, I was like, "Oh my God, this is what being in New York is all about. You never know who might drop in on
Yeah.
a random night." And from there on in, I was just hooked on comedy, and the rest is history. I always went to a comedy show every month from there on in. I never left
Wait, you weren't
the
doing
comedy
stand up
business.
yet?
No,
You weren't-
I was not. I didn't start doing stand up until 7 years later.
But that show was the one that kind of like.
Oh, it got me screwed into the comedy business. Absolutely.
Is
That's
New
awesome.
York is New York a lot more different now than it was when you used to live there, or before that? I mean, it has changed significantly.
Yeah. I mean, a lot has changed, and it's slowly getting back to normal. They're opening up the comedy clubs April 2nd on a Friday to 33%, like a third capacity. But yeah, I mean, there was a mass exodus, and hopefully it starts to get back to normal soon.
This Friday at 4:20, our guest has been Joel Richardson, and we're getting ready to wind things down. Just before we do, though, I got to say, Joel, speaking of cities, I won't comment on New York City. I will comment on Philadelphia. I've been to Philadelphia 3 times. Philadelphia is an amazing city. I don't know that everybody totally understands that. I had an uncle who was a priest in Philadelphia.
Okay.
And so we went and visited him on a couple of occasions. He was a street priest who helped the homeless there. And but Philadelphia is really a cool place, and I love the history of it. So how far are you away from? You're just outside of the Philadelphia area?
Yeah. We're 40 minutes outside of Philadelphia in Montgomery County. The county itself has 1 million people, but I'm in a small borough of less than 5,000 people. So it's just crazy what we've been able to do. And so many people have told us that our shows have brought them through the pandemic, and we've had people from all over the place, come visit us during this pandemic, and it gave them some sense of normalcy during the shutdown. And laughter, it's cliche, but it is the best medicine.
Well, as I think Manola's pointed out earlier, I mean, as much as COVID hitting right after you open this club and your dream and you get it all up and going, maybe in some way, when you look back 10 years from now, you'll go, wow, that was just a really amazing way for us to lift off what SoulJoel's is meant to be, right?
People think I'm crazy, but it's the best thing that happened to us because we
Yeah.
never quit. We never stopped moving. And now it's put us on the map.
Well, please check out the documentary about how SoulJoel's got through the pandemic. Visit souljoels.com, just $10. Be able to stream the documentary, check out some very cool comics who all have a lot to say about SoulJoel's. And Joel Richardson, thank you so much for doing this, man. You were a lot of fun. We had a good time with you.
Thanks so much. Sunday's called The Shutdown, the event, and it's called Soul Survivor.
Soul Survivor. Stole that from my favorite TV show. Joel Richardson of SPJ Comedy. Manolis, what do you got to say before we wrap things up?
I just want to know how do you 2 things. Are you going to go? When do you think you go back actually into the club? Or are you gonna keep doing both now?
So eventually we'll keep doing both. But for 2021, we're staying under the dome until things open back up. But yeah, for now we have no plans of going back inside.
And how do you? And you went right through the winter. You did this outside through the winter.
Yeah, we just got through the winter, so right now it's only gonna get nicer out. So
And how do you donate to, like, you're saying this thing is also to help donate? You can donate money to help the club out. How do you do that?
Yeah, right through the link and make the donation on sjpcomedy.com.
Okay, thank you.
Nice.
Yeah.
What Pat?
No, I said nice. That's awesome.
Okay, yeah.
sjpcomedy.com. You can visit. Patrick, what do you got to say?
Go to sjpcomedy.com. Make a donation. Help them out.
Thanks, buddy.
And when's Levity opening?
Oh, we have no idea. We're
Okay,
changing it. We're
excellent.
changing it to SoulJoel's Canada.
SoulJoel's Canada. I love it. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you to you at home who've been watching this little rendition of Friday at 420. We really appreciate you paying attention to our little show. On behalf of Manolis and Patrick and our special guest, Joel Richardson, thanks for watching. And until we get a chance to talk to you again in 7 days, have an awesome weekend.
Woo!